knowing each other. Because I don't think you know me very well yet, but I'm assuming you know each other quite well. Is that true? You're looking at me like maybe not.
No, we don't know you that much.
Yeah. So my name's Sarah, and I'm working as a coach with Collective Rising. I think you don't need too many stories about me, but one of the things is just to tell you I lived in Kenya for 20 years. So I went to Kenya when I was in my late 20s and started a girls' football and rights program in Kilifi in coastal Kenya, and I was there for 20 years. Now I'm back in the UK for a bit, hopefully not forever. So that's a bit about me. 20 long years. I am Kenyan. I'm married to a Kenyan, so I have Kenyan citizenship as well. So that's nice.
I'm sorry, I think someone took my bag and left mine. Because this is not my notebook.
Ooh.
This is not my notebook.
My handwriting as well.
We have swapped the folders. This
Is that
not
yours?
This is not mine as well.
Oh no.
That's right, can you check yours because we were both sitting.
Maybe I haven't written on it at all, so it's blank. Like I was just using my diary.
Nice.
Where was it?
Where? Just coming from the table and I labeled it Martha Makala. I'll find it tomorrow, no problem.
This one is mine.
That one that you're having,
I don't know what this is.
will you show that to Martha?
It's not my writing. And I'll just use something else.
Yeah,
I'll get it for tomorrow because the one where it's written Martha Makala.
Oh, yeah.
So then for me, if you just tell me your name, your position in the organization, and then I want you, we all need to tell each other something that we don't know about each other. Okay, so that's very easy for me because you don't know me. But I want you to share with each other something that the others definitely don't know about you. So, okay. So my one is I love football. I'm mad about football. So let's go to you.
So my name is Martha
I'm going
Makala.
to you first, okay? Yeah.
Naitwa Martha Makala, nimekuwa Sara anajua kuongea Kiswahili fasaha. Na wakati wa jioni mimi nakuwa nimechoka, napenda kutumia lugha ya kwanza ili nisiumize kichwa.
Hata mimi.
So mimi ni Martha Makala, ni mratibu taifa mtandao wa elimu Tanzania, National Coordinator.
National Coordinator.
Yes. Kitu ambacho ni unique labda wengine hawakijui hata kwenye timu yangu, mimi nimecheza girls football for 6 years. Yes. Najua piga mtama vizuri.
Wewe ni striker.
Wewe ni striker.
Okay.
Hicho kitu hicho ndio nakitafuta majina hapo. Naitwa Peter. Ni Head of Finance and Administration. Kitu ambacho wengine wafahamu. Kwa mara ya kwanza jana sikupata mshtuko wakati ndege.
Mimi naitwa Nasra Kimkila, nafanya kazi na TENMET kama Head of Programs. Kitu ambacho wenzangu hawakijui is that like I can openly share, sidhani kama kipo, lakini kwa sababu haunifahamu coach, kitu ambacho I'm really afraid of cats, like something.
Cats?
Yes. Yani it freaks me out.
Wow.
Yes.
Ole.
Okay, maybe a little Maria. So I work with TENMET as a partnership and grants advisor. And what my team doesn't know about me is I contested Miss UDs in 2011.
Oh.
I didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. naona simu tatu kwa meza.
Yeah.
Sasa naweza kuonyesha kwa mbali. Na Kiswahili changu haiko vizuri sana kuelewa kila kitu. So you might have to speak a bit of English too. But najua nyinyi pia mnazungumza Kizungu, sio? So tusaidiane. So to start, let me just share. Everyone has signed it. Have you signed this as well, Martha?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so just a reminder when we're doing team coaching, don't make assumptions about other people. So, and don't judge yourself and others. So, if somebody says something which doesn't feel right to you, just try and think, why are they saying that, rather than, he's such a pain, that finance person. You know, just kumwelewa anatoka wapi, what he's trying to say. Yeah, so don't automatically take what others say personally. Be aware of power dynamics. I'm sure in your network you have a lot of power dynamics. Yeah? So just being aware of that, even within the team. And remember, we're here for development and learning. So this is the place where you can make your mistakes. And, you know, we will support each other as we do that. You know, I'm trying to do things that maybe are a bit difficult, but hopefully this will be a safe space for you to do that. Speak only for yourself and not for others. So what I mean by that is, like, I was in another meeting and someone said, what Martha is really trying to say, and I was like, no, don't say what she's trying to say. What you think she's trying to say is blah, blah, blah. So just, taking ownership of what you say. And listen to understand, not to respond. So if somebody is talking and you're just thinking, I want to respond, I want to, you know, shut them down, just really try and listen to what they're saying. Misao. Okay, so do you know much about the coaching process we're starting?
Well, personally, not that much. So
Yeah. So we have this coaching session today, where we'll answer some of these questions here about your organization, and then we'll talk about the team. You are the leadership team, Sio. You are.
I am.
And yeah, and you are.
She is, because she leads the Girls Caucus position.
Yeah.
She's coordinating a very huge platform, so in a way, she's a leader.
Part of the leadership team, yeah. So we'll talk about what you want to work on about you to make your team stronger, to make your organization stronger, to make your impact stronger. But we're starting with this group, and you're starting with yourself with the Enneagram. So today we'll be trying to decide what is it that you want to work on, what do you want to improve. Then tomorrow I'll come back to you with, we call it an offer. So I'll come back and say, oh, this is maybe how you are in this area you want to work in, and this is what we can move towards together. Then we will meet another 7 times online. So once every 3 weeks, I think 3 or 4 weeks. I think they'll give you the program, and you'll see if it fits with your own programs. So we'll finish the coaching before the Celebration Summit. But in between the coaching sessions, together we'll develop some practices for you to try in your work. And then, so you practice at work, and then when we come back the next session, we talk about it. but not practices that will take lots of time. Practices that you can just fit into your daily life, knowing, I'm assuming you're all busy. Is that true?
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. So how, does that sound okay? Does that sound possible?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So let's start with answering these questions. So I think we can stand up. It's quite warm in here still.
Are the ACs even on? I don't think so, are they?
Yeah.
Or maybe the temperature is so low? It's
Let's start.
23, 23 it's...
We can start with question 1, which is on the end there. Let's get some, what do you call them? Here. Here's a pen. So, or maybe we do, let's do it in pairs, okay? So you two can start here, and you two can come to this one. No, come to this one. Okay, and you're just going to put down some ideas, on the paper. Okay? So you're not like this one just from your head. It doesn't have to be exactly as it is in the strategic plan. You want this pen? New view of quality design successfully.
To practice those policies and practices, promote access to equitable quality. Katika board management stability na gender inclusivity. Kwenye board kuna wale representatives of disability, kuna youth representation sasa hivi ya hostels. Yani kama umeenda nje wewe kwenda kawaida. Mimi naanza kutafuta kutoka nje kwa nini hivi? Hizo tuzo focus tunazofanya kwa forum na katika level of organization. Operations tunavyofanya katika kufulfill hiki tunachokitaka. Sawa. Sasa nikasema kwamba cha kwanza nichomba nafikiria kuna ile katika organization level unawezaje kwenye kuna watu wangapi, kuna wanaume wangapi, ndio ile kwanza. Hizo forums pamoja na hayo na operations tufanya watu free, lakini hata organization to be able to have a position to reflect what we are preaching is what we are doing. Right. Sector dialogues, sawa. Weka ES, weka lake, ajesa. Na technical working groups. Hii lake juu yake vizuri. Ajesa juu. Yes.
Okay, let's have a couple of more minutes on this one and then you can move to the next one. Yeah, that's great.
Yes, we can go to
Yes,
another
go
diagram.
to the next one. Because you'll add to the other ones. Yeah. Don't have to get everything. Oh, it's supposed to be 2025. Yeah, it's a typo.
The strategic plan, the organizations were designed in such a manner that positions ziko kwa ajili ya kujibu, ziko kwa ajili ya positions ziko kwa ajili ya zipo kwa ajili ya kuensure achievements.
To increase resource motivation. To diversify funding.
Positions are the space decided. Positions are placed. Positions are placed based on
Influence review location.
Funding iko poa sahihi ama funding iko poa ama unahitaji zaidi? Okay. But iko safe.
Issue ya to influence review ya education active.
So you have very many organizations.
245 plus this is 251. Each of them adds 6 up to 15.
Wow. There must be every NGO in education.
If we have other finance,
So you can move on.
to increase membership base, it's also another opportunity for this year.
Great. The last one I would say
is to become the voice to the voiceless.
How long has TENMET been in existence?
25 years.
Okay, so it's been there a while.
Yeah. To continue becoming the voice to the voiceless. Because we are raising voices so marginalized. The problem with my head, when it's reached during the evening hours, my learning speeds drops down.
After 6.
What are the 3 core values that define your organization culture? Transparency, stability,
Repair.
repel.
So
Yes.
so I can start
Yeah, you
listing
can
them
start
down.
with the repair. You can put the letters, then we will do the
Representation.
yes.
What are you going to put on?
Yeah, they're put on
Is it fine?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's more just.
Equity. Partnership.
Resilience given limited scarcity of resources.
E or L?
L is lifelong learning, the last one. Lifelong learning. So there's respect, there's confidence, partnership, there's transparency. Yeah, there's respect, transparency.
You can move on and let them come and add some things. Yeah.
Yes, non-TENMET members.
Just see if you're happy with what they've written, if there's anything to add.
Watamalizia
Yeah.
tuachi. Wachukua. Ability to navigate in a complex situation. Ability to navigate
What's
in a complex situation.
So speaking of resilience.
Listening to create a girls' caucus. So almost 30 organizations comes together
Yeah.
with a collective voice to fight to give these girls right child to education.
Okay.
So we really do have plans for the year, activities, going together to regular parliament, to voices and all that. So this is a group of organizations that are active.
Maybe just write 30 organizations, girls, is it girls and girls education or girls opportunities?
Ability to fundraise.
That's the technical skill.
Yeah.
Organizations.
Ability to fundraise.
Unify.
That's very key. Right, yeah.
To advocate
And build strategic partnership.
for reentry.
Yeah, very key.
Advocate for reentry. Nisipohitaji reentry TENMET nijamaliza meno vizuri.
What is your current program structure? Organization structure? Kwanza unaona ukianza AGM, boards, ESA.
Nimeiweka yote naitwa
They wanted to allow you to say where it happened. Can you share specific examples?
this is demonstrated accountability for report to different stakeholders.
Finance and the program.
Different stakeholders.
Stuff like it.
Nilikiwa ni secretariat.
Sasa finance administrative. Yani program yetu inaanza AGM, board of directors, national coordinator of our finance split. Hivi inakuja head of programs, head of finance and administration.
Management na secretariat, lakini ndani ndio ya having national coordinator and
Structure ya elimu ukiangalia kwenye barabara kwa hivi.
sasa hapa nitasema tu secretariat, maana sasa
Lazima uweke head na supporting staff chini yake. HOP, head of finance administration. Yes, HOP. Alafu kuna supporting staff.
To everyone regardless of
Supporting staff.
registration.
Supporting staff, same apply kwenye HFA. Alafu sasa sentence ambayo ninafikiria tunaweza ku-add. Kitu ambacho hapo tunaweza ku-add jinsi ya kusupport hii hapa sasa. All these are experts with different technical skills. Support implementation here, management.
Yeah, so you could just say a lot of expertise, relevant expertise.
Yeah, relevant expertise.
Hata tutasema kwamba sisi ni kwa maana sisi kwamba ni life ya Ramadhani ni kwamba hibrid watu wa
Okay. The strengths is the last one.
Resilience in reflect on the past year, what would you identify as your organization key strength? Umoja wetu ndio nguvu zetu. We are many organization.
Yeah.
Umoja wetu ndio nguvu zetu.
Yeah.
I always say it.
Ability to invite members, yes.
It's
You
membership
should
based.
just say we are many.
and
Yeah.
design
Yeah, we are many. Membership based.
and designs to accommodate
Membership based inaandika 245, 251 kilometers na msi.
accommodate
251. So,
daily
251.
teaching and learning. Teaching and learning.
Organizations.
What about the strength of you as a team? Like you and your staff?
Transparency. Issues chooses.
Yeah, tunafanya nini?
Again, there's an issue of different skills.
Transparency,
Working as a
one.
team.
Ni
Team.
kwamba
But it's part of your approach in terms of
reporting.
working that I found.
we report
as
through
a-
our websites, we report through social medias. Kwamba information is available
How long have you been?
Yes. I started as
In Nazareth?
and that's what
To
we did for
everyone.
6 years.
Okay.
to everyone
And Helen?
Through
Peter
our
has been there
website.
for
through our
1
website.
year and some
So
months.
it's new?
Through
Yeah,
our
Helen,
websites.
just some few months, but she has been part of the caucus for
Okay.
many years, and she's coordinating the caucus platform and membership base. So she's aware of the caucus platform, because she's been there for
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah. Okay, you have some good
Yes,
ones
we are.
there.
You wanted to add something else?
I don't know, it's just checking.
Yeah.
No, you guys say you could. You did our help
They
somewhere.
added a couple more here. And then what I'd like us to do is answer the final question, which is over there, but we'll do it all together,
Okay.
which is more about what do you think you need to work on and improve as a team?
Okay, I'll say that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go over to the other side. Improve, that will strengthen the team, to strengthen the organization, to strengthen your impact. And this is where we have to be a bit open with each other, like what's not working so well, where do we think we're having problems, and you know, we can share that in this environment, I think, because you're all wanting to improve.
Number one, I think we need to execute the reflections. We are having limited number of reflections, meeting amongst, not just within ourselves, but the entire team at Secretariat, which limits the learning process as a cycle. That needs to be improved at our organization.
So you do reflections.
We do Monday meetings, everybody reports what they're gonna do, when it's not went well and stuff like that. But we don't have the in-depth reflection, like a quarterly reflection meeting, where we all sit together, we have time for reflection and team building sessions.
So you
With
don't
the-
have that.
It's rarely done,
Implementation.
partially,
Okay.
it's partially done.
Okay. So
It's-
maybe you can write that reflections, partial, more might be better.
I should have.
And then I think your point of the implementation of,
Execute.
is it recommendations or?
Reflection. To enhance learning. I would say that one is as number one. Yeah, to execute more reflection to enhance learning amongst the team. Yeah.
And learning about what?
So when I'm talking about learning, I'm talking as learning as a cycle. You execute the activity, the program activities or the project activities. You see there are challenges there. Then what are you learning from that challenging?
Great.
Then you
yeah.
go and implement. But also you make the entire team to understand what is happening within the organization that is a result of program and projects implementation.
Yeah.
So the learning I'm talking about here is the entire cycle of implementation that you implement, you get the results, the challenges, the lessons, and how are you going to address them? You come back to the cycle. So this is the learning that I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
So quite often we plan, we get funding, we implement, we see what the results are, and we forget to do the learning and reflection. Not,
They are done, but in a very partial way.
yeah,
I want them to be in depth. Okay, one of my areas of expertise is monitoring and evaluation.
sure,
I've
okay.
done that one consistently for 7 good years.
Mm.
And I've just learned that the way reflections have been done at TENMET is quite different. So we need to go to the in-depth. And that's what I'm trying to bring on board and convincing the team that we need to go out of the office, have a day, reflect, and let everybody know what we're doing in terms of both finance, administration, and the program team. And we all have the same understanding.
Mhm.
Yes.
And why doesn't it happen?
Well, yes, I can say there are issues about funding. As we said, it's our year priority. There was a limited funds to set kind of activity to go out. You need to hire a venue,
Sure,
to
yeah.
pay for staff transport and stuff like that. That is one of the challenge. Secondly, okay, we were at some point because of funding, limited number of staff and so many things to implement. So we were very busy implementing and having a pause and having time for reflection.
So maybe just write funding and time. And let's hear from Nazra, Helen,
Yeah.
Peter. Are you in agreement with what Martha is saying?
Yeah. I've
Yes.
dropped, like, you can just.
Yeah, we are in agreement because, as she's saying, it's through reflections that you're going to know the areas of weaknesses,
Yeah.
so that you do not shift to the next year, the next quarter, with the challenges that you ought to have solved and become
Sure.
a new person in the next quarter.
But also to add on to that, the learning piece it's very important in the program management because it's also going to inform you if there is a room for adaptive management.
Sure.
So you see, you reflect, you learn, you document, and then you see rooms for areas where you can improve or revitalize your program design. Yeah.
But funding and time are the things that are getting in the way. Not having enough funding, time. Yeah. Okay.
Can I share another area?
Yeah,
sure.
go for it.
Research.
Mm-hmm.
How research TENMET is an advocacy-based organization, and you can literally see with our mission, with objective, with the whole strategic plan. We're not a service delivery organization, advocacy-based. And if you're doing advocacy, you need to have evidence that supports your advocacy work. We have been not conducting enough researches to inform our advocacy, and I think it's an area that as an organization we need to improve, to conduct more research so that it can support our advocacy, because as an organization also sitting in the education sector development committees, which is a very high level decision-making body when it comes to planning and executing national education plans and policies. So I think that's an area where we should put much effort, and also address the question that you also asked in the first area on why are we not doing research.
Yeah.
One is it's on funding, because when you get to see our strategic plan, it's not fully funded. We are having a dedicated objective. Our strategic plan has 5 objectives. We're having a dedicated objective number 3 that looks on generating evidences that will support the advocacy. but we are yet to have enough funding to support a
Sure.
lot
Yeah.
of researches that we want to do, because as an organization we envision ourselves to be I can say an organization that generates, knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes, and other CSOs being a member base, they can use their research and advocate it.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
elsewhere. So there is where now we're being called on not executing
Okay,
that.
I think write that one down. I'm just getting my notepad.
As you're writing, my handwriting is good.
Very good. Look at me. It's like
No, yours is excellent.
Napanda mlima. Oh la la la. So how should we step this?
I think just more research.
More research for evidence-based
Yeah.
focus. As you're writing that one, I'm thinking of.
Hold on, Martha. Let's hear from some other. Helen or Peter, do you have some? What are the things that you as a team might need to improve or change or work on?
We need to identify gaps from the employees and to provide capacity building.
Okay, tell me more. Gaps in the staff, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not staffing, but ability to do things. Let's say I'm doing partnership and alliance advisor, maybe if there could be some coaching to do in my roles, maybe that way.
Okay, so building the skills of staff.
Yeah,
Based on the identified needs
Yes.
Yeah.
or gaps.
yeah.
Okay, great, you can write that.
It's just how to.
You need help build the skills of
Building
staff
skills, yeah.
based on the identified gaps.
Yeah, based on identified gaps. Peter, do you have one you want to
I'm
add?
still thinking about it.
Okay, no problem.
I think
Go ahead.
no, I think we like when you're talking about the partial reflection, also mentioned on team building.
Mhm.
Yeah, team building also.
Yes. I
Team
think-
building sessions.
Yes, I think that is very key because that is what brings the team together. Because you can literally find ourselves that every time it's so much concentrated with work, like where's the budget, what's the proposal, where's this plan, where's that plan. But when you get to sit together and have those team building activities, they get to help the team to connect more,
Yeah,
but also to get to know each other, not only in a colleague manner. There is this day that Martha posed a very, it was a question, I can say it was a food for thought. It was on a Monday meeting, and she asked like, does everybody knows where everyone is staying?
yeah.
For me, that was a question that really made me think about it, because as a leader, you can have your team, but you don't know where they're staying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think team building in other exercises really helps you to connect more, to get to understand a person better, and things related to that.
Yeah, so I think what I've seen with other organizations as well is actually to build that into some of your like daily, weekly operations. So rather than, a team building away somewhere which costs money and it takes a lot of organizing, how can you get to know each other better just as a team? So maybe you could put, I don't know, to know each other better? Is that what it is? Is that the thing?
You wanted to say something?
No, I'm trying to think. The way you're thinking about it, and the way we have been discussing, because this is one of the management agenda that we discussed a lot of times. That, for instance, today I just discovered Helen competed for Miss University, and I've known her for some time
Yeah.
through Caucus 3 years ago, and now she have just joined the organization. I didn't know even Peter has a flight phobia.
Exactly.
So these are some of the tiny things, but they're very important to know, so
Yeah.
that you understand your people and you know how to deal with it. If next time you say, I want to send Peter to America, you know that he has a flight phobia and you know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's a small thing, but it's very important for him. If I want to organize a competition for beauty or something, content with students, I know I can use Helen.
Exactly.
Yeah, so discovering the skill set that we have within the organization, it really needs time to drop out of the marathon Nasra bring to us of project activities and have it's like completely no work. Let's just have fun, chat, play.
Yeah, so how long did it take you to find out about Peter's flight phobia and Helen's
A few minutes here,
Yeah.
but it was out of first I've learned that one thing that I've learned about the team, when you take them out of the work office space, people's mind flow, they come up with things compared to when you take them within the same premises. Their thinking is more about work. They say, Martha, you have this document to sign. There's this donor, there's this donor. But when you take them out, I've learned that there's a more of reflection and getting new ideas and creativity. But if you bring them in the house, there's one thing that I need to explain, you need to understand from TENMET. The organization was left in a very bad financial constraint with limited number of staff. And still the donor requirements where there needs to be, we need to be accountable.
Yeah.
And I was the only management that I was left. I needed to recruit the other management, which is Peter and Nasra.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of marathon in terms of resource mobilization to cap the existing financial gap in the organization. But also there was a staff retrenchment that was done because of funding.
Yeah.
So there was the issue of looking for funds and recruit other staff. So Helen was recruited because there was a staff who was terminated because like the contract ended, we're not renewing because we don't have funds.
Yeah.
Peter was recruited because the head of finance said I cannot receive the little salary by volunteering, I have to go away.
Yeah.
Yes, Nasra was recruited in the position of head of programs because I was the head of program. The national coordinator left the organization because of funding situation.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Nasra has to replace my position so that things can move on. So you see, I even requested for this session for us to be part of the coaching
Yeah.
because we have the management also that needs to be in the, I've been in the leadership training,
Yeah.
partial, in some of the sessions. I'm also doing a master's of business administration, leadership and governance, but I wanted the entire team to have the same understanding that I have
Yeah.
so that the management can work together. And so that is the background where the network is right now.
And now your funding is okay, or very nearly okay.
Unless I have signed the MasterCard Foundation contract, I'll say we are at least.
Yeah. Okay.
At least I'll say by 60%, 70%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we
Okay,
have
that's
the
really
WPF,
useful.
I have the WPF funding. The Wellspring Philanthropic Fund are winding down the operation in the entire globe.
Yeah.
So them as a 3 years project that I had internally and they're coming out, it's another gap that I need to cover. Yes. So the management has been very busy writing proposals.
Exactly.
There was
yeah.
no time for reflection,
Yeah.
no time for, the focus was, that's why we wrote this as our first priority.
Yeah.
Because there was a major donor, Cedar Sweden, who was previously funding the organization for the past 10 plus years
Yeah.
and was giving almost 80% of the organizational funding. It acted as a very big risk when the donor left and there was no funding.
Yeah.
So that is where we are coming from.
Yeah.
That's why you can see all those things are coming, like guys, now let's have reflection, let's have time.
So that's great to know. So this is where you are in your history.
Yes.
So what we're getting here is these are some of the things you could try and put in place that would really help you in the next phase of your history.
Exactly.
And that thing of reflecting, knowing each other better, you can decide how you're going to lead this network. And it's open to you.
And again, about the reflection, we just need to hire full-time monitoring and evaluation specialists.
Sure.
Right now, we're having a volunteer person who is a very good expert,
Yeah.
well-skilled, but his time is divided because of the funding. What we're giving him is very little compared. He's a PhD holder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just need to get funds to hire a full-time M&E. I was having a discussion with one of my partner that I will see how he can support me on organizational capacity, on organizational growth funding. In part of the organizational growth funding is having the full-time M&E
Yeah.
who will support the reflections and also establish the systems strong. They are system, but also to strengthen the existing M&E system in the organization.
Okay, so let's just pause for a moment. Helen, I want to ask you what your Enneagram is. What is it? What's your Enneagram type?
One.
You're a 1?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're surrounded by 3s. You are aware of this problem.
She's not aware of the problem, I'm telling you.
You're aware of this situation. Oh, we're sitting down, are we? No, it's okay. Yeah.
For
no,
me,
that's
my legs
good.
are tired, I want to be very honest.
It's easier for me if I'm writing notes as well. What are we going to work on together? So when I look at what we've got here, it's like you are hopefully in a position where you're a new management team, so actually you can do whatever you like. And what I'm hearing is reflection is really important. Like, how do you reflect? The monitoring and evaluation, that comes a bit from your background as well, Martha, and the research that you're talking about. But as a team, what does the last one say? Building the skills of staff based on the needs. And then you also filled in forms before you came, yeah? Some of you did a survey that went to Peter, or I don't know if you sent it to Joyce or Peter.
The online survey.
Yeah, 3 of you did it. So some of the things that came out of there, which I just want to remind you of when we think about what you're working on the decision making, some people talked about fear of being judged. Sometimes it can be a bit slow because we need consensus and input from everyone. Sometimes there's pushback against change. These are all very normal things in a workplace. Somebody talked about internal communications needing to improve, better collaboration and time to reflect, which you've talked about, safe spaces for feedback, opportunities for leadership development. So if we're going to work on something together, the 4 of you, and you could say it in 1 or 2 sentences, what would you want to... Is it about just creating space for reflection? Or do we also need to work on internal communication? Do you have issues around delegation? Nobody has said that. Or better collaboration? Like, what would make a difference for you to be working as a team? We all have problems in our teams. And I know it's really late, isn't it? It's quite hard to think about these things.
Yeah, enough, but I would like them to start
Sure.
so that I don't preempt their thinking.
So Helen, as a 1, you like things to be done properly. Is that right?
Yeah.
And in the right way, and I don't know whether you spend a lot of time getting it perfect, and so I want you probably have good reflective skills to see what would you want to improve in the team.
I joined the organization this February.
Okay.
So I do not know whether I have studied the organization enough to comment.
That's a very one
Yeah.
way to respond. An Enneagram 1. You don't have enough information to say anything. So I'd love you to share something because probably you have very good intuition as well, but you're afraid to share that. So sometimes you don't need all the information to make a comment. Like, if you think of the advocacy work you do, we all know the needs of girls. It's, yes, you need more research, but sometimes you just need to say, this is what's needed. So I'm waiting to hear from you.
I have a question.
Mm.
So can the sharing also be part of individual rather than a team? Like personally
Explain
sharing
more, yeah.
and like personally me, if you have spoken an issue of delegation. When I was reading my Enneagram report, I'm type 3, he's type 3, she's type 3. And now that's a personal reflection from me, myself. There are a lot of components that I saw myself resonating to my type.
Yeah.
And one of the things that personally I would like to work on, because now I have a team,
Yeah.
is on the aspect of delegation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that comes with type 3 because they cannot easily trust.
Yeah.
And again, because we want things to be achieved, to be effectively done, to be efficiently done, and now you sometimes think that, okay, I'm having some sort of time constraints. If I have to give this assignment for somebody to do it, it's not going to come out the way that I want it to do, so I'll just have to do it myself, and you're just going to find yourself having a lot of things to do at the same time, and that leads to burnout. But also in the process of continue to reflect on the Enneagram report and the online sessions that we have with Jason, one of the things that with my personal reflection was that as a leader, delegation is part of empowerment. You're empowering your subordinates. Because you're exposing them to different work for them to do, so that little by little, today they might not be of a very good help or doing it in a very right way, but through empowering them, coaching them how it's supposed to be done, and it's something that they will reach there, and they're really going to continue to help you in most of the tasks, so that they'll be equal, doing with it. So I think personally for me, it's something that I'm really looking forward, if you have to ask me personally. It's something that I'm really looking forward by the end of the coaching and training, that, will be a good...
Well, I wonder if the other 3s have problems with delegation, and 1s as well. A 1 is very hard for you to... Often it's very hard for you to ask somebody else or to trust somebody else to do the work to the standard that you expect. Is that accurate, Helen?
You're right.
Yeah. And for the 3s, what about you with delegation?
I don't have a problem with delegation. Natural knows that most of the time I tell her, go ahead and do this.
Okay,
That is not a problem for me.
Peter?
So me can delegate, but the trust on the fact that will be brought and I have to recheck, being the fact that I deal with numbers. So 1-0.
So when you've delegated, what's happening for you before you receive the work?
Before I receive the work, I'll trust them, but I don't have to put a lot of attention onto it when it comes, so that when you're sending to the national coordinators, you might not be having a lot of time to go through it, so I must ensure that at least it makes sense for it. So on my end, I think on my type, one of the things that I really think is to be able to balance, work-life balance, to ensure that I'm also living,
You
Yeah.
he's not living.
Yeah,
Correct.
you know.
I hear you, Peter.
Yeah, to ensure that, and it has been my weakness.
Yeah, okay.
That's irrespective of maybe sometimes I can just find myself I'm reflecting on something a half an hour, and then sometimes I'm not busy. Why am I going home like now? And they're actually
So do you stay in the office long?
Yeah,
long
I
hours?
stay in my office long hours.
And the rest of you?
3 of us are there. Okay, I understand where we are coming. The way the organization was
Situation,
left
yeah.
to us, it was in a critical situation.
Yeah.
The staff salaries were very low. At least now we are in a kind of a better compared to where we came from. And because of the sacrifice that we made by coming late, putting down the proposal,
Yeah.
sacrificing some of our part times, like it's like we were supposed to leave at 5:30 p.m. but
Yeah.
we'll stay up to 20 or sometimes 21 by making sure that we're putting proposal to make sure things move on. But also one thing that I'll say, the challenge that we have, because that problem will come out. We are type 3.
Yeah.
We after results, achievements.
Exactly.
That is one of also our problem. That's
Yeah.
the fact that we're all of the. I've been the MNE for 7 years
Yeah.
and also worked in research. So I would like us to really be the achiever.
Showing what you're doing.
That is our pride.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's drain our time.
Absolutely.
It's drain our
Yeah.
time. We don't have time to rest and do the work-life balance. I think that is the thing that 3 of us need to work on because of our time category. That's why I've been pushing them. We need to have reflection. Let's go out,
Yeah.
spend some time with the team so that we know the people we're working out. Let's know their strength, their weakness, so that we know how we complement.
Well, why don't we make that your topic? To slow down, collaborate more,
Yeah.
reflect more, get to know the team better.
Yes.
That would really strengthen you, strengthen the organization. Reflect on things like how long you're working. You can't sustain that. The
Yeah,
hours
it's not
you've
enough.
been doing, it's not, because in the end, if you continue like that, you die, the organization dies. I mean, it's not gonna help.
I went to the hospital. The doctor asked me to sleep there for 2 hours. Immediately when I put my head, I slept.
Yeah. Okay. Are you seeing this as well, Helen, or is it just these funny threes?
No, I don't see that.
You don't see that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so how is it for you?
What was the question again?
Well, I was saying, perhaps your coaching topic could be something around bringing in more reflection, like regular reflection, just slowing down a bit, collaborating more with other staff, so that you work, and the delegation piece as well. So if I was suggesting that would be something you could work on together, would that be useful for you? Or is it only useful for the threes?
No, it will be useful for myself also and for the rest of the team who are not here.
Yeah, so how many staff do you have?
That's a very good question. Because I was about to say, Sarah, before we go to the other conclusions, we're in such a transition
Yeah.
that once we get this new contract,
Yeah,
we'll recruit new staff
yeah,
who will come to support the existing
Yeah.
staff.
yeah,
Again, there will be a learning curve for them to understand the organization. And
yeah,
in that learning period, the same staff who are here will have to work with them to induce them in the organizational culture and the way we do things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know that they comes with their different component of skills and expertise, but there are those common things like knowing the system,
yeah,
how things operate in here.
yeah,
Again, that one is, we are in such a transition that I've been in that transition somewhere else. It's really taking some time, like 6-7 months for things to start running normal. So we're in that,
yeah.
we're in that
absolutely.
transition as an organization.
So while you're in that transition, what can we do to strengthen the 4 of you? Because we can't do anything about the new staff that you're bringing in, because we don't know when they're going to come in. That's still a bit in the future, isn't it? It's a few months away, probably.
I have an answer.
Mm.
Number one, we need to strengthen our leadership skills,
Mhm.
so that even when there are other new staffs comes, okay,
Yeah.
it will be a big team now, so
Yeah.
that we can manage them properly, we can coordinate them properly and make sure that things are moving smoothly as planned.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a huge team with different, enneagram
Yeah.
diversity, then we need to know about how to manage that complexity with the different cultural dynamics.
Yeah.
You know, I was giving a testimony that I worked with 2 men, I was the only female person out of the management. Sometimes they could call the meeting at 21 hours, you see,
Yeah.
because they don't have those gender thinking. So
Yeah.
if this head of programs, head of finance and administration, national coordinator, our leadership skills are equipped and quenched in such a way we can manage a large team, it will
Yeah.
be easy for a smooth transition of the organization in that transition period. And I was also telling my colleagues, we need the funds to strengthen the organizational system, like the male
Yeah.
system. That I see it as a priority. Okay, maybe it's a little bit biased because I've worked as an M&E and I'm an M&E expert. I
Yeah.
have a postgraduate in M&E. But I still see, because TENMET has such a robust program,
Yeah.
so for it to be properly coordinated and make sure things are moving well, and also not draining program staff from doing the implementation and the full-time M&E, I think having an M&E person internally will ease and take off some load from the program staff.
Yeah. So just give me, like, the likelihood is that the funding will come in the next few months, or like 3 months or 6 months, or what do you think?
The likelihood is that the likelihood in a month, I would say, because we are now thinking about the launching, we're discussing about the launching
Okay,
around
okay.
May. So I'm just thinking.
But you won't have recruited by then.
Yeah, no, we want to recruit by May, you know, after the launching and contract signing,
Yeah.
that's when we can start the
Start
recruitment
recruiting.
process.
Yeah.
And it will go by phases, because we want to bring all of the required at a time, but it'll just go by phases.
So I think when you say strengthen our leadership skills, I think it's a bit broad.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, you know, and then you've mentioned work-life balance, you've mentioned delegation. We're waiting to hear from Helen. What would be useful for you to develop as a leadership skill?
Communication skills,
Communicate, like, what do you mean by communication skills?
like proper communication. If there is a certain communication that somebody needs to get it on time, in a timely manner, and also to be able to I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I know proper communication will be able to help me or the team to perform something.
So communication within the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can I say what I think she wanted to say?
Yes. Very good. You're a quick learner.
Okay. And then she'll correct me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong.
Absolutely.
Yes. So basically, what Helen is doing, she's partnership and alliance advisor.
Yeah.
She's a key personnel in the staff because she's the one who coordinates the 251 members. She does the recruitment.
Right.
She's supposed to ensure there is retention.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also ensuring that these members are fed with the information, because you know, when a new member wants to join the network, they always ask, yeah, what are the benefits?
Yeah.
Now what you're telling them, they are the benefits. You need to ensure that you consistently, provide those benefits
Yes.
associated with them becoming a member. And on top of that, she's also coordinating this platform of education civil society working in protecting the rights of girl child. Yeah. So she's also like Evo. When she's speaking about communication, I'm also seeing maybe an aspect of also getting some sort of communicative role with this diverse.
With them.
Yes. Internally, but also externally, because as partnership and alliance advisor, she's the focal person into those two avenues that she's dating.
Mm.
Yeah. So I was, it's me thinking, yeah, on those.
I have the other thinking about what she thinks. I think
Okay.
also she's communicating that it goes to me. I see it goes beyond communication. It's also the component of coordination. You know, she's coordinating 251 members. She have 30 caucus members, who some of them are not TENMET members. They are just
Okay.
partners.
Yeah.
So the channels of communication and the way things should operate in a very diplomatic way, you know, I think that's what she's trying to communicate.
Yeah.
Equipped with those skills.
Is that correct?
That's very true.
So it's about how you communicate with the partners and the members of the network.
And how she presents herself.
Yeah.
It goes beyond the email, the phone, you know, is that part of PR, public relation.
Yeah.
How she should present herself. That's how I think she think about it. She can
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I think she think about it.
So I hear you, and in this group, you know, so that one, for instance, you could work on with your Enneagram buddies up to a certain extent. But this group here is how can you work better as a team to be able to strengthen the organization. So we need to work on something that is for all of you.
It's, sorry,
Yeah.
I think it's like, with what I'm hearing, what she's saying, is like, we have not yet reached into common ground on what are the area where all of us.
You're not far off though, I don't
Okay.
think. So let me just share a few things that you've said and then we can see what we come up with. So what I'm hearing from you is, you know, over the last while you haven't had any time for reflection because you've been, you know, developing proposals, trying to find money, you were in a crisis. But now you're getting to a situation where you might have some stability and potentially some big growth is around the corner. So what do you need as a team to be able to manage that? What's coming up? So there were things around being able to reflect more and get that maybe systematized, so when the new people come in, they become a part of this reflection that you're doing. More collaboration between you working together and then also with the partners and the members. And then, you know, you talked about delegation as well, like delegation, communication. So I think, I don't know, if you could put it in one sentence, how might you put it, what it is you want to work on together?
Maybe I'm just trying to match the two.
Yeah.
When you're talking about delegations, you're talking about how you communicate your work or the respective activities that want to be performed by another person.
Mm.
So I'm just trying to match, maybe she's talking internal and external communication. So you can match maybe say like talk of leadership communication skills. Am I out of context?
It's quite broad.
It's quite broad.
I'm trying to process it. That's generally what I can say from the discussion that is happening here right now. And from my own perspective as an individual. I would say, TENMET is a very, kubwa sana.
Yeah,
It's a very huge thing,
yeah,
as a network with 245 members.
yeah,
We need to have strong leadership skills.
yeah.
That's one. So for me, I'll just be straightforward to the point for the sake of our organizational growth. I will need us as a team to be equipped with all the leadership skills that are required. As I've given myself as an example, I did some leadership program. Wellspring Philanthropic Fund has given me a coach for 1 year. I've been trained for 1 year. I've attended some of the leadership training for 6 months. I'm doing masters of leadership. I've done already for 7 months. You know, I've been in leadership for more than 7 years in terms of managerial level. So I would love some of the thinking and some of the skills and the techniques for all of us to have them, so that when we move as a team.
So you're talking like a fully grown Enneagram 3. And remember, there are 9 Enneagram types. And actually what you probably need in your team is some more diversity and different ways of leading. You lead your way, and your way is a really good way of leading. But as you grow, you are really going to need different people in there as well. You know, the more quiet, reflective types. The ones who say, hold on a minute, let's just see if everybody is on board. You know, so maybe the topic is around, I don't know, increasing your awareness so that you're going to be ready when the new people come in, and ready to recruit people who are different from you. Because if you have 3 3s already, it makes that way of working very dominant. And that's not always a good thing for an organization as it grows. So I think if we came up with something like, you know, what I'm hearing is you're in a very specific moment in your history. You've had a really bad time, and it looks like you're coming out of it. So to come out of it strong, healthy.
Yes, strong and healthy. Because I suffered the consequences of
Maybe, I mean,
being overworking myself. Maybe my colleagues have not shared the consequences, but it's really affected my health. Because I went to the hospital and the doctor asked me, it's like, what your body is missing is to rest, sleep here. 2 hours.
yeah.
So I think
So I think maybe
to come out
I mean-
strong and healthy is very important.
So I'm going to go a bit controversial here, and you might disagree, but you know, if you focused on reflection and rest as something that's really important for you as a team, and possibly communication, but I can see the 3s look at me thinking, what on earth are you talking about? Reflection, rest? No way, we've got things to do.
Team building is something that I see it's coming up to me because, as I said,
Yeah.
we're going to have new staff in-house. And I will be very honest with you. We had some staff who have just popped in, but the management was very busy putting down the proposal so that we hit the target and make sure that the organization comes back to the financial status the way it was. So I would say management had less or limited time to do more of the coaching with the rest of staff. When I'm hearing Helen speaking some stuff, I'm just reflecting on myself, the time that I've delegated to coach her on some issues to adapt with it. When she came in, we baptized her with fire, like she has been there in the system, proceeds. But I realize as she speaks that there are some things that could be done internally to make her have a smooth working environment. Like as a partnership and alliance coordinator, this is what, okay, she could have got some from Nastra, but I realized that I also had a role to do, which I did not do, and the focus was on proposal.
Yeah. So if we were going to put it in a sentence, could we say to build more capabilities to reflect, or structures to reflect and rest?
I just want to, like, think out loud.
Please do.
So I think one thing that really, with the context that we have given you, and you asked a question, yeah? Our team is composed of 11 people, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Okay.
And with 11 people, we are having 6 staff who are fully employed. But within those,
Volunteers.
yes, we are having 4 who are technical people.
Okay.
Those are these ones, the technical people.
Right. Yeah.
Because the other 2, they're supporting staff. We're having administration assistant together with the driver.
Yeah. Okay.
And we are having 2 volunteers who they're supporting our work.
Yeah.
Yes, one is the programs and another one is in the M&E.
Yeah.
But we're also having interns,
Yeah.
yeah, which are 3 interns. One is on the finance department,
Yeah.
another one is doing comms,
Yeah.
and another one is doing IT. Yes. And on the same note, the team is going to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. With a plan, we're going to hire how many people? Is it 12 or 10? I don't remember the number, but we're going to double the
Yeah.
size.
Yeah.
And again, if the people that we are looking for to manage them, to coach them, we're not saying that those that they are coming, they will not have anything to offer, they will have quite much, but there is things concerning the organization culture and all that.
Sure. Yeah.
And we are looking at ourselves again as step 3. You need to get things done.
Yeah.
And also, as a leader, you'll be having a role to coach them to understand the system, to understand the culture, so that they can move and
Yeah.
Now that, I don't know, is it if comes to the topic of some sort of being equipped so that you can capacitate like the teams that is coming
Yeah.
somewhere around those fields. Is it coming? Because again, with that, for me, I'm seeing that also goes with the part for me on the delegation.
Yeah.
Because listening between the lines of what I was saying and what Peter was saying is the same.
Yeah.
Because again, Peter was also speaking on he's working late because he doesn't have a person to delegate. Because if you could have a team, you can give them work, so instead of checking out late at work, all of you could be checking out around 5.
Yeah.
So also that comes with the delegation.
Yeah.
And that's why we overwork 3 of us, because you need to do resource mobilization, you need to implement work, there are governance issues waiting for you, there are a lot of things. And it's only 3 of us. So if it's part of delegating, you're delegating 3 of us, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do that. It's just throwing out my mind and see if we can derive into a point where now with the new staff they're going to come, it's really going to help us,
Yeah.
have a balance.
Streamline it a bit more. Yeah. What are you hearing, Helen, or what are you thinking? And what do you think the team needs before the new people come in?
Just to be well organized,
Mm.
so that when new people comes in, they find people strong,
Yeah.
rules, regulations clear. So they join in to support the strength that they will find.
Yeah. So to strengthen the team, I mean, that's a bit broad, but I do think the delegation, reflection and rest things are important for all of the members of the team, because those are things that, I don't know whether Helen has struggled with this, you haven't been there long enough, but those are things that you've struggled with, or not you on the delegation.
Sarah, there's something that Master said, and I think we have not yet found a proper word for it. We are going to be in a transition of orienting the new team,
Yeah.
the new staff
Yeah.
into the system. At least it might take some months before they settle. Despite that, they come with their different technical expertise.
Yeah.
So that component, piece of leadership to help them settle, to equip them with, You know, that piece is that what Nasra was, I think that's what Nasra was also communicating.
Yeah.
So I think we haven't captured that element, which is very important for TENMET as we are in this transition period. How will Peter work
Yeah.
with the grants manager, account officer, to facilitate them to have a smooth landing in the office, adapt the system to the extent that it will reach an area, Peter will be in a position to delegate and trust them, they will deliver.
Yeah.
How will Nasra work with the project staff, recruit them, process them, orient them, to the extent that when Nasra is having an emergency, she can boldly stand and say, Martha, I've handed my task maybe to Juma, Juma can deliver it.
Yeah.
That thing is the thing that I said we have noted. Me, I don't have a problem, I have Nasra. And the way she's talking about it, she's overloaded. You know the type 3?
Yeah.
As the achiever, she would like to see things are good, straightforward, delivered at a time.
Yeah.
But we need to bring a team that will coach, orient, but we need to have those skill sets. I know we have preliminary from what we are, but we need it to be strengthened. So to make sure that we are placing the team that will, as well as would quickly adapt to what we're going to give to them. So, you know, I normally tell teachers, teachers always give to students what they have. They cannot give beyond what they don't have. So it's the same thing here. We want to be equipped with skills. You know, when they see, they say, oh, wow, this is well professional done.
Yeah.
They've been well trained, they've been well blessed.
So I think because if they're coming in a few months and we'll be working together from now until I think it's September, August, September. So you might not have recruited that many, but why don't we use this time and what we're doing to prepare you for, which is what you've just said, for when these people come in.
Exactly.
We don't need to specify right now what those preparations are.
Yes.
But things like, so you want to be prepared so that you can orient and trust the new staff as they come in. So what we can do is actually do some of this reflection. Like, so what is needed? What's TENMET been through over the last while? Because I can imagine for some of you it's been really hard and really taken a lot of your energy and your, you know, what you have to offer. So even just reflecting on that, so then what does that mean for us? And then what do we want with these new staff? Do we want them to come into the office at 9 and leave at 5? And if we do, how do we make that happen? We make that happen by doing it ourselves. That could be something that we practice. So we could be having these discussions, being able to practice delegation. So to show to them when they come in, delegation is really important. Communication, to be able to show to them when they come in. Communication with our external partners and members is really important. Because what's nice to finish with here is, if we have in a sentence, so this is what I wrote, to develop the current management team, so that's you guys, to be ready to integrate the new staff into the organization. That could be it. To be able to orient and trust them.
I will be very honest. My thinking level was really dropped down. But if you give me time and you tell me tomorrow, Martha, give me some things, I might come with some new thinking around there of the skill set, that we need to place the other ones that they come and we can manage a bigger team. So
But we don't have to have everything completely in place. I think what I'll do tonight is I will work on, so I'll come back to you with, this can be the topic we work on, so to get yourself ready for when the new staff come in. And then I can suggest some development objectives, and that's when we can discuss, like, oh, yeah, no, maybe not. And then, you know, how do we start taking that forward? Because, yeah, I think at this time, we are done.
Kabisa. Hali yangu mbaya. Nimesema ukweli wa Mungu. They know ikifika saa 10 naanza kumove kwenye madawati yao naomba results because I cannot focus in my desk.
No, exactly. So what I'm also going to do is make sure that your session tomorrow is the one earlier in the afternoon.
Thank you.
Because I think that's fair.
Yes, because we're in a critical moment that we need to really.
Yeah, but we can keep, you know, it's not set in stone. We have, you know, 9 sessions. So over those sessions, focus might change a bit depending on how quickly new people come in, or if they don't, you know, we'll be able to adapt. But it's really about strengthening you to be able to bring this new team on board, however that might be. Yeah. So, but no, before we finish, one thing. Let's all share one word. And I know this is, you're probably thinking, oh God, but you know, one word, how you're feeling as we leave this room. And just the 3s especially, just take a few breaths and to think about how it is you're feeling. It's not, you know, it doesn't really matter. We'll forget what we've said within a minute. But the 3s just, how am I really feeling? Apart from exhausted.
That was
good. I want you to go beyond, under the exhaustion, and share how you feel as we come to the end of this session.
This session, the coaching session?
Yeah.
Or the entire coaching
No,
session?
just the coaching session. Well, the day, whatever.
What is the coaching? Please go ahead.
Yeah, because since
It's
this-
one word, one
One
line.
word.
Yeah, no long stories.
Introspective.
Introspective. Okay. That's great for a 3. That's development.
Mine was a sentence, so
I
have to
one word.
revisit.
Yeah. Martha, do you have one? Complexity. Yeah. Helen.
It was perfect.
That's actually.
just like that.
You're feeling perfect. Yeah, that's your type.
No, because we discussed good things, how to improve, you
Yeah.
know, be able to understand the context and then you know how to navigate through it. It's perfect.
Great.
We'll arrive into standards.
We'll get there somehow. Yeah. That's right.
New beginning?
New beginning. Okay. Yeah.
That's not one word.
I know, but
I
she's
know.
tired. We'll let her.
Umetoka sema beginning.
I'm new.
What was yours?
Complexity.
Oh yeah, complexity. Yeah, you see, I'd already forgotten.